This is the poetry reading and roundtable edition of People and Their Poems, hosted by Sandy Lee Carlson.
Welcome everybody to the August edition of People and Their Poems and Orenaug Mountain Publishing's monthly poetry roundtable. It's really great to have poets from around the world joining us today for this conversation and sharing of poetry. We're really fortunate we have two featured poets today, Julie Cook and Nancy Manning, going to share a few extra poems, and then we'll go around and share what we've brought to the table for today. So welcome everybody. Let's see, can we start with Nancy today?
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right, I picked out a couple poems representative of my work and the themes I like to discuss in my poetry. So the first subject is art. I like to write ekphrastic poems. So this is a poem based on Van Gogh's Room at Arles. And it's probably my favorite painting of his. You know, he created so many self-portraits and portraits of friends and neighbors, and they all seem sad and gloomy. You look at this room and you're thinking, what a happy place. But once you step into the painting, once you study it clearly, you see something else is going on. So this is entitled Two Views. Drowsily, twin pillows rest against headboard. A pair of chairs sits empty. The table holds an empty bottle and cup. The set of shutters half opens. Light clouds the view. Companion pieces, canvas and glass. One reflects his genius. The other landscapes his look. Self-portraits side by side. His likeness double-faced. Underneath, blurred scenes unseen, save by his eye. A wooden rack of 4 pins holds his clothes half full. A set of doors untouched by knock. The floor worn alone by his steps. To bed, to window, back to bed. His room in blue, secluded by presence who cared. He remained solitary. I love to write about nature. It's probably the most common topic of all my poems. And this is one of my Rhode Island poems. It's entitled Matunic Beach, Rhode Island. True story. Under a sunrise tinged with pink, would I mistake for summer fun, a seagull nudging a toy from the sea, corrects itself in the vision of my field glasses. The fish whips its tail against sand, thrusts its fins to flop its body back to familiar depths as sun sucks moisture from scales and gills. The peck, peck, peck of pulling action becomes more forceful. A beak made bloody from battle, pries gobs of flesh from underbelly. After a final breath from the body made still, a squawk attracts a larger audience that joins center stage and feasts on water as it draws its own dark curtain, claiming what it owns of bone back to sea. I have a lot of love poems that I have written. This one is based on a true story. There's reference to Falconet's Pygmalion, which is featured on my cover. And the collection is called What Glues Us Together. This poem is entitled Muse. Once in high school, you held open the door for me. You in your football uniform, me in my field hockey jersey and skirt. In the breath of this dream, I hungered for more. Months later, you visited my campus. Near the corner arch, we sat. You didn't like edges, points meeting. People were parallel, not perpendicular. You wrote poetry, but never shared a page. Still, your voice floated in rings around my head, and your hands sculpted me. Like Falconet's Pygmalion, you crouched, looked adoringly at your Galatea of Baroque ivory, hair braided, eyes beholden, mouth smiling, breasts round like white rosettes, arms and legs shapely, abdomen beckoning life. You breathed life into me. We went to movies, walked around Walden, watched football games. Our hands joined, but our ideas didn't dovetail. Years later, when I learned of your gunshot wound, I broke into pieces. Details of your death couldn't be shared. Family prodded the shards for answers. Tears flooded my cheeks. Today, questions still linger. Maybe in death, you glue me together, blow away dust, so words on paper exhale meaning. I'll read one more poem. This is from my new collection. It's entitled Absence, and this is about my maternal grandma, Nani. I spent a lot of time with her. I lived with her during high school, and I think about her every day after her passing. Nani's cuckoo clock. The gears would click, and a little brown door would open. A white bird would push forward on his perch, nod, chirp once, then disappear back into his home. On the full hour, the bird would reappear, chirp again. As early as 3, I stood under this treasure Nani brought back from Italy. I'd watch, wait. Nani on the couch, her nimble fingers knitting or crocheting. She'd say, cuckoo, at odd moments, and I would giggle. Once I helped her pull the chains, set the hour. Then time stopped. My heart broke losing her. Nani and her knitted gifts were my world. If only that clock were packed away somewhere and I could reset the hour, hear that bird chime once more. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Would you just remind us where you're calling in from again?
Oxford.
Oxford, Connecticut. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that selection of poems. The fourth poem brought me back to my own grandmother, and those the clock is metaphor, but also we grew up surrounded by older things, and those things told stories, so they became very precious. So thank you for sharing that. So there are some folks that I think are possibly new to the roundtable. It is a roundtable, so after a person reads, just feel free to unmute and share some thoughts, and then we'll move on to the next poet. I don't moderate. I just kind of jump in as well, but I like everybody to feel like you jump in when you want. Okay. But thank you very much, Nancy.
I'd just like to say that I really loved all of your poems, but the last one was really struck me. Yeah, my grandmother, they had a like a mantle clock, very old, that would chime at the different times, and and I have it, but I don't know what to do with it, but it doesn't
Keep
work.
it. Keep it.
Yeah. Yeah.
My sister threw away the cuckoo clock.
Oh.
I really like your attention to detail. You know, it's like I could see you created pictures.
Thank you.
Especially, I mean, there was the Van Gogh ekphrastic poem, but the other three, there was just so many visual details that I appreciated. And I also like the narrative of the poem about your loved one who committed suicide. And, you know, it's the story really gracefully unfolded.
Thank you.
I love the line in the Van Gogh, light clouds the view.
Mhm.
Instead of being light, as light is normally. It really struck me.
Thank you.
I think it's interesting that you started with an ekphrastic poem, but you're creating, I mean, in all of your pieces, you've created images that are very strong. So it's kind of ekphrastic poetry, or I mean, you know, you're creating the reverse, and it's great. Yeah, I really,
Thank you
yeah,
so much.
yeah. Good stuff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nancy, the football player who wrote poems he didn't share. I just wanted to just add that resonated with me. I mean, part of the reason I launched the collection, Lost Love, was inspired by a friend who kept poems, and I have the collection now. We all have so much going on in our heads and our hearts.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's that like misconception that, you know, writing poetry is not manly for that generation, right? And I didn't know until I read it in his obituary. I just didn't know.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. And thank you for the invite. Thank you.
All right. Will we move on to Julie? And if you could just say where you're calling in from, just it kind of adds to the richness of the conversation, which is really around the world.
Okay, I'm here in Woodbury, Connecticut. And yeah, so I'm so happy to read for you. Coincidentally, my first one that I chose is an ekphrastic poem, but you probably haven't seen the painting. It's a pastel painting by Peter Seltzer. He's a local artist. He's amazing. And I think he's internationally known, probably. And his piece is called Peace That Has No Borders. And my companion poem is called Second Sight. So I'm hoping you'll be able to create an image in your mind. What is seen and unseen, not so far apart. What it takes is a shift in focus. Use a simple tool, say a frame, to direct your attention. Clear away everything else except the pink lotus, then the blue. Eventually, your two eyes will tire and close, drifting your vision upward to a third frame, the illuminated template of lotus. Stay with it, and your perception will widen to include a magnificent orb whose energy pulses beyond the frame. You may remain in this timeless state for seconds or millennia. Perhaps you become aware of a being of great compassion hovering just above your left shoulder before you quickly descend to the safety of red earth, where the framed pink and blue lotus flowers sit, right next to a pair of white doves you never noticed before. This next one is sort of a reminiscence from childhood, but kind of connected it to where I am now in the scheme of things, as far as how long I've been around. It's called Back Then. Smoothing lavender lotion on my arms, I am surprised by the deep purple bruise from yesterday when a technician expertly siphoned 2 vials of blood from my body and bandaged the spot, advising me to apply pressure unless I wanted an ugly bruise to appear. And here it is, a purple splotch with faint yellow undertones, gracing the inside of my arm like a badly done tattoo of a dying iris. It reminds me of the scabs of my childhood, war wounds on elbows and knees, caused by the sidewalk rising up to smack me as I ran for the good humor truck, or the ground suddenly heaving like the ocean, throwing me down, bicycle and all. Every kid had them, reddish-brown points of pride we compared while recounting exactly how it happened, after hiccuped crying and the sting of mercurochrome faded from memory. Now I hear stories of accidents and operations told by friends, sometimes with great relish and detail, other times in matter-of-fact reports. There's awareness of pending physical ailments as we age, and the desire to rebound quickly, to live as fully as we can for as long as we can, to laugh with friends, walk in quiet woods, witness a chorus of migrating geese, and be freshened by joy. Simple happiness and resilience like back then, when we picked up our bikes, strapped on our roller skates, and with eager shouts, took fearlessly to the streets once again. This next one was inspired by a booklet that I have from 1925 that shows the many of the public schools in New Britain, which is the city that I grew up in. And it had pictures of all of the faculty from each school in front of the schools. And most of them were women. Almost like 95% of them were women. And so one particular woman's face really struck me, and I created a story for her. So here we go. 1925, Ruby. 13 women posed for a photograph on the steps of a school. Young, bright, and smiling, with stylish bobs and modest skirts, they seemed proud to be teachers, to be modern, independent women. You wouldn't guess that underneath their patterned skirts and long sweaters, they were bound by the tight ropes of a contract that swore their promise never to be immodest or unpatriotic or complain to the school's principal, never to go dancing or fall in love or get secretly married, to always sleep 8 hours each night, to eat carefully, stay in good spirits, be willing servants to the school board. They vowed to cheerfully donate time and money to Sunday school, to always be a lady, and to never attain the advanced age of 41, at least while so employed. It seemed a better deal than working in the factory making ball bearings, though teachers' pay was certainly less. But look at this coterie of women, how comfortable they seem. How the one in front with shiny crimped hair and dazzling smile leans her arm on her friend's knee. You just know she's the one who'd be slipping out at night for a movie, bringing girlfriends to parties with men, jazz, and bootleg gin. These were daring times after all, and somehow she knew there were others right behind her, waves of women pushing open the heavy door to freedom, one more chink. Women who follow rules never make history. And my last poem is called Silent. The birds are strangely silent this morning. I hear the wind weaving through trees. I hear a faraway murmur from a distant, intractable land. Where are the bright announcements of yesterday's wren, perched on the shepherd's crook, passionately singing to the lush amphitheater of yard, to squirrels, chipmunks, circling hawks? I suppose there is a time to be silent, when deep listening is called for. I sit on the deck, breathing through my ears, letting in the vast grace of morning, a rising well of courage, holding right words for the right time.
Nice.
Thank you.
I think you have the same wren in your yard that I do. I never thought of the lush amphitheater. That's just what that wren is taking advantage of. Love it.
Mhm.
I especially loved the poem about childhood that started out from the bruise, the badly done tattoo of the dying iris, and all those. I was like, oh yeah, you know, the ground throwing you down and the mercurochrome. That was really resonant for me.
Yes, and I related to it too, but in a different way because the way you captured that reality for many of us who are older, that when something happens that threatens our health, that at least that I have the same reaction as the narrator in your poem, that I want to embrace my life, sit and look at the hummingbirds. It's like, wait a minute, this is all temporary. I better absorb it. And I love the line in the last poem you read about breathing through your ears. That's great. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
And the
I
wind
enjoyed your
weaving through
poems.
the
I'm sorry.
trees. Oh,
Nope.
no, I was just jumping back in. That was another gorgeous line.
I enjoyed your poems also. And I absolutely loved in your first poem when you're talking about the piece of art and you said, oh, and then the white doves that you hadn't seen before, suddenly you noticed.
Uh-huh.
That's so true when we study paintings and art. There's something that you can always see that wasn't there on previous visits. So very well done. And the kids going back on the bikes despite the scabs and the bruises. That was great.
Yeah.
We have to all do that too.
Mhm.
So I put a link in the chat to the artwork that Julie wrote about by Peter Seltzer. So if you want to take a second and have a look. And I just want to say when we did this ekphrastic project, our group with the works in our library, we had the opportunity to meet Peter and to visit his studio. But I remember him remarking to me that Julie absolutely nailed his painting. He was so touched. It's such a wonderful opportunity to make those connections and to feel so aligned and to see the alignment. It was really powerful.
Was, yeah. And it's a beautiful, beautiful painting. Yeah.
I love your work, Julie. Just thank you.
Thanks for the opportunity to read it. Really appreciate it.
It was great. Let's see. Why don't we hop over to another continent just for fun?
Yeah.
Steve, would you read for us now?
Thank you. Me, yeah, I really enjoyed both Julie and Nancy there. It's tremendous. And Nancy, I was delighted that you started with Van Gogh, which in the UK we tend to say Van Gogh, but it happens to be the first poem in the collection, A Lighter Metal. And I've called it Vincent, 1890, from his time in Arles. Art is long, life is short. You open your heart to cypresses as you enter the grounds of St. Paul at Saint-Remy, catch the blaze of a wheat field with crows. I never knew such colour could hold so many words. Every stroke of your paintbrush connects you with artists in my family, living and dead. If we were to meet, would we share a bottle of wine together, talk yellow, yellow and blue and red? Might we discuss composition, the spirit of light? Would I put my arm around you as we go back inside, exchange anecdotes, talk mental health? You are here of your own free will. I was sectioned. And then it hits you like a fracture in a pane of glass. All the grief that ever was, expressed through this one old man. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. It's just so interesting, these conversations, and they become these synchronicities, you know, the Van
Yeah.
Gogh, Van Gogh connection, and the idea that we enter the painting with the artist and connect with
Absolutely.
the artist. It's just fascinating, you know, and the combination of pain and comfort in taking that walk with the artist through that painting is
Mhm.
very, very powerful.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yes, and the idea that the painting speaks, that's something that a sense I got.
Uh-huh.
It's like a vocabulary, of
Comes
course.
alive, yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I love the line, never knew such color could hold so many words.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Just like poetry. Great piece. Yeah.
Well, that was great, Steve. And where in England are you again?
We're in Tunbridge Wells, which is in Kent, south of London. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And why don't we go to Sam now, who has a daughter living in England?
Yes, in fact, I FaceTimed with her about an hour ago. My daughter lives in Cambridge. I want to say how much I've grown to appreciate this roundtable, this group, and listening to everyone reveal themselves. And prior to this experience, I only shared my words with the piece of paper upon which they were written, and there they stayed in a folder or an envelope for decades until I came to Woodbury, Connecticut. And thanks to Sandy, I got up at a mic and just let it flow. And I find everyone looks so beautiful when they recite their words because you're sharing your humanity. And I've come to see and appreciate the beauty of what it is to write poetry and share yourself. I know it's helped me a lot. And I always feel like I never know when the next poem is going to come or if it's going to come at all. Think, where's it going to come from? This is it. I've written my last poem. Never know when the last one is coming. So I have some recent poems which will appear in my forthcoming book published by Orenaug Mountain Publishing, which is entitled Ode. So the first one is Ode to a Heart. We all have a heart, right? Ode to thee, dear heart of mine, you have lived within me before my birth. Without your constant beat, I would not have survived, and you have given me a truly wonderful life. Quiet and still, you know what my mind can never fathom. You know my innermost feelings and deepest dark secrets, which you bring to light when my mind is silent. May you live in tranquil harmony so that your beauty and wisdom will be reflected and shine through me. May you have a serene and steady rhythm. Peace is your mantra. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. And this is called Ode to Love. Ode to thee, dearest love of life. What would I do? What would I be without you? Could I live? Would I die? Or merely exist? You fill me with the food of life, breath, earth, and sky. Like a flower turning to the sun, I bask in your light, my dearest one. You assume many forms and take different shapes. At times you are a goddess, or sometimes a child. You might be a friend or a beast in the wild. Always you are beautiful. You might be a bird singing in a tree, or the stars sparkling in the sky when the moon rises from out of the sea. At times I thought you were forever lost. I was in grief, despair, and bereft. I feared I would never see you again, but truly, you never left. You were within me all the time, a seed waiting to flower again. It only required a clearer view so that I could more deeply know you. Oh, dear love, what would I be? What could I do without you? Could I live? Would I thrive? Without you, I truly am not alive. Oh, to thee, dearest love of life. And the last one I would like to share is called Reverent. Reverent am I in the temple of embrace. In your presence I abide. Never will I hide from your face. Reverent am I in the sanctuary of soul, to be content within myself, safe, complete, and whole. Reverent am I in the palace of dawn, under the canopy of your eye, to your flame am I drawn. Reverent am I in the castle of strength, my guardian and protector throughout my time of distress. Reverent am I in the kingdom of kindness, a pillar of fire to lead me through the desert of my darkness. Reverent am I in the fortress of faith, in the halo of the holy and the certainty of belief. Reverent am I at heaven's gate, in the luminosity of glory, in the presence of the great. Reverent am I in the throne of love, to have a seat in the infinite light, showering from above. Reverent am I in the creation of the cosmic, to bask in the aura of the majestic and the magic of the poetic. Reverent am I. Thank you.
Sam, that last poem really touched me so deeply.
I know.
I
Thank
love,
you.
yeah, I love I love every part of it. I like the repetition of reverent am I, and then so many aspects of spirit that you describe. It's beautiful. I wrote a couple down: kingdom of kindness, fortress of faith, and halo of the holy. Really beautiful. Thank you.
So are you.
Thank you.
Ditto what Julie said. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
Charlotte, would you read for us next?
This is a new form for me for this poem. It's called Haibun. That's a combination of prose and haiku. Night owls. In January, a pair of owls hoot nightly back and forth on all sides of the house, yet I never see them. Some nights they perch so close, I hear the soft cooing sounds of intimate nighttime conversation. I lie awake in surreal nights, my mind jumbled. Though I don't know it, I suffer from Lyme disease. In February, by the woodpile at dusk, my husband is startled by a rabbit falling from the sky and a glimpse of a large, silent bird flying off. In truth, it is but half a rabbit. Hoo, 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 hoo. Sweating open window nights, owls comfort Lyme brain. Early in April, in pine woods, a pattern of shadow and light highlights an odd burl on a high limb. With binoculars, the burl becomes a sleeping bird. When my husband appears with the camera, the owl wakes, then spreads its wings to smoothly disappear. Binoculars in hand, I go owl prowling. No sign of birds, except a fresh duck head and bird droppings beneath the owl's perch. The next weekend, we rustle about in the woods, seeking the roosting owl, finding nothing. As we head back along an edge of an open field, an owl flies away from somewhere near the house. We spot it perched atop a tall tree where it watches us, feathered horn tufts silhouetted against the sky. I turn my binoculars toward the towering pair of trees next to the house. In the top of the forked larch, two big-eyed owlets are peering over the edge of the abandoned hawk's nest. No mystery now, that feeling of being watched as I walked the path to the house each night after work, keeping my eyes wide and low for another glimpse of the red fox who dens nearby. Owlets discovered, rain-soaked pellets on the ground. Nighttime squeaks weren't squirrels. As the owlets quickly grow to fledgling size, strange things appear under the larch. Tiny bones and teeth embedded in fresh owl pellets, a fishtail, non-native rainbow trout stocked earlier in the year, and the remains of a blue jay. There is the whole body of a squirrel so recently born it is still hairless. The agents of death owls kill to feed their babies, a cycle of life. One day I see the tails of two white suckers. A fisherman I know says spawning suckers are easy prey in the river shallows. Nutrients cycling, moving up from the river, the owls never know.
Miss Charlotte's poem was really wonderful. I like the interplay of, the owl's eyes and, of course, the eye that observes these creatures. And I especially love the way the binoculars play the part of, the all-seeing eyes. And the mention of the cat along with the owls really made it sort of a study in poetic form on these two enigmatic creatures who are very much alike if you look at them in terms of their mystery and the way they just enigmatize us. It was really a wonderful, wonderful poem. The images really are memorable. Thank you for that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I love this. I love this too. I love thinking about all the things that you were looking at on the ground. The owls, their presence is there all the time, of course, but we only get fleeting glimpses of them. But then if you know what to look for, there are their traces. And it's beautiful that at the end of the poem, we get the owlets. So like, that was wonderful.
The crazy thing is how long it took us to become aware of them. Even after the half rabbit dropped out of the sky, we still didn't know where they were.
That's ridiculous. Yeah.
There was so much wonderful language, but I wasn't writing it down because I was so drawn into the poem itself and the images. So I think there was a swoosh of something. I don't remember. There was
Yeah.
and yeah, lovely.
This style of writing is supposed to be in the present. And I think that makes it, kind of gives it something. I thought it was weird at first, even because it spans so much time. But in fact, I think that contributes to you being there.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Charlotte. That was amazing. It's just you think of the violence that goes into survival on a metaphorical level. How much taking goes on, and sort of an objective fact in the natural world, and so often the media will spin it as, in human terms, what animals have to do to survive. And yet it is the cycle of life, and it's not all picture postcard. And discovering that and just seeing those remnants of animals in the feces of the owlets is just so powerful. It just really stays with you.
Well, thank you.
All right, Susan, why don't we have you go next?
This is a poem that I wrote just recently, and it is a love poem. A little bit PG, but not terrible. I call it Rocking. Your barefoot feet thumping the floor, fingers pounding piano keys, music rocking the house. Later, eyes rolling as you talk on the phone. The bobcat tilting as you hoist loads of gravel, you leaning to counterbalance, elbow pointing, machine motors grinding, whining, you tearing branches from wood's undergrowth, then cutting logs, taking what the forest offers. Your startled laugh at discovering the nest a Carolina wren left in your jacket pocket. Your soft stroking from knee to upper thigh, your olive green eyes locking on my face, endless movement, endless energy, glowing when I make you laugh. At night, your warmth filling the bed. I pull away, watching your chest, rising and falling, rising and falling. Thank you.
It's a really mature love. I mean that in a good way.
Yeah, yeah.
Something that's just, seasoned into something wonderful.
Mm-hmm. You can tell we've known each other a long time.
Yeah.
I love the Carolina wren.
True. It's true. It happened.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
Well, and that's right after we're taking what the forest offers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's such a in a figurative sense. Oh no, in a literal sense.
Right. In your pocket. I was thinking Nancy should come out to Scotland, Connecticut, because we have owls out the wazoo everywhere.
Thanks, Susan. Naomi, would you read next?
Yes, thank you. And this, I think, dovetails nicely with what Susan just read. It's my most recent poem. And it's called You Used to Bring Me Flowers. You used to bring me flowers every Friday, would arrive cradling an arrangement you'd picked out, each time different, each time a surprise, and always roses because you knew I love roses. And just when they'd wilt and I'd have to throw them away, except for the roses I'd save, you'd appear again with an armful of blossoms for years. One day, raised voices replaced colorful bouquets. Did you decide not to stop on your way home, or did it just happen? I don't remember noticing their absence until later, maybe after you'd begun sleeping downstairs on the sofa, that the table had been empty for some time. After Ellen died, you returned, not with flowers, but still with kindness, checked on me each morning, kissed my cheek before leaving for work, made sure I was breathing still, though I would have preferred not to. I could not let you find my empty shell. And now you step through my door, again in your arms, a long-stemmed beauty, wrapped in clear cellophane, shining silver stalk, and six-petaled, copper-handled replacement hose faucet, not like the crappy plastic one that won't last past frost. And I still feel fresh pleasure, soldered by the love that has always held us.
Right.
Naomi, I think when you got to the end, I was just so struck, and just the way things go in life, it just, you captured so well. I think if you have a short one, why don't you? And then we'll.
Right, this is short, and it's more uplifting. It's about hope. You know how a candle flares when touched by a match flame, illuminates a surrounding circle for one brilliant moment, then subsides, dies back to a glowing wisp, disappearing almost until fed by an unseen force, grows again, alights from within the way we must, even when snuffed out, trail our ribbon of rainbow smoke, ready for an inevitable spark to reignite. Thank you. It's a pleasure to read.
Love the rainbow smoke.
That's sort of an, how do you say it? Ekphrastic? It's based off a photograph, not a painting, but there is, I should find it and put it in the chat or something. It's this image of the trail of smoke where you can actually see, I don't know how they did that. You can see the colors in the smoke.
Thanks, Naomi. And where are you zooming in from?
I'm in North Bennington, Vermont.
Thank you. So Betty Lou, would you read for us?
Sure, I'd be happy to. I'm going to read about community. The mystery of community. Community in Christ. Vulnerable, open to joy, open to the wounds of friends and strangers and loved ones, opening ourselves, our unguarded selves, to share our ordinary lives, touched by all the confusion and inconsistencies, touched by grief and laughter, touched by delight and wonder, oft separated by only a breath.
Thanks, Betty Lou. Your poem reminds me of how close we are to each other, and so many forces in our world work to keep us apart. But I think there
are forces like you who keep us together, Sandy.
And you as well. And it's true of everybody here, isn't it? Because we believe in the power of what we do in this art form. Thank you so much, Betty Lou. And Betty Lou's in Woodbury, Connecticut, too.
Oh, yes. Sorry about that. Thank you, Sandy.
Sure. I know we go to Prithvijit right now. Poor Prithvijit. Looks like it's very hot where you are in India.
But this poetry roundtable makes everything worth it. So, first of all, good evening to everybody once again. My name is Prithvijit. For the uninitiated, I'm from the beautiful historic city of Lucknow from India. And it's always a privilege and an honor to join all of you. You've all become now familiar faces to me, and your words mean the world to me, even more. So on that note, the poem that I'm going to read today is once again, it really flows from my life script, from the kind of life that I've lived. It's a homage to my family ties, to the people who've raised me, and the influences that inculcate an artistic tendencies in all of us. So it's title palette, and I love the fact that there's a recurring theme of ekphrastic poems and the animal world and paintings, because my poem is titled Palette, a painter's palette at that. So without further ado, I'm going to share it with you. Palette. I never really played hopscotch with children my age. Back in my day, I used to draw flowers on neatly produced A4 sheets that began at my small finger and then seemed to end till the neighbor's garden intervened with fuchsia flowers, and I pressed their otherworldly prints on my sketchbook. Somebody took those prints along with other treasured memorabilia when we were by the sea and looming our way around the nation's western terraces, and put them up for sale. Among those things lost or stolen was my mother's trophy, Teacher of the Year. Some people just didn't know the value of that prized citation because they never tried to crawl out of the narrow, glittering meridians. Thank God the fuchsia flowers continued to grow when we came back to this earth. But that is not the end of the story. I continued to draw flowers, especially roses, on birthday cards, season's greetings posts, and even school textbooks that graduated to the special room where all my certificates, prizes, and sketchbooks were protected from the longitudinal shadows of passing years. A rose with sweet petals and an awkwardly drawn stem and big leaves on those pages, bigger than the crimson darling. It was always sweet to press the breakable splinter of my crayons at the end of a school book. so that the red and green interlocked to never become an afterthought in time. Mum always believed in this vocation. She and many others thought I would be a painter before I became a man of this world. So many people, they raised me. To raise a painter is in itself a guarantee against fascism of any kind, I think. A special incentive for being a child, growing up with the stubborn resistances of the mind against the colorless relativity of dusty desks and improper wisdom. Those I loved had hands always at work, always pioneering. Everywhere else, the deal was struck in the bazaars of older cities. I've not really painted at all or so much as drawn anything of merit in the last 15 years of my life. I'm a different kind of painter now, but I'm proud of my abstracts that became the front cover of several handmade cards in those years. Their colors amorphous, their stories ambiguous, their intents as big as my mother's smiles. Oh, I didn't tell you this before, but my neighbors of yore were all siblings living together. All siblings unattached to traditional partings of adulthood and its relative mores. No affront of the world could be like the high wind that shook their familial tethers to each other. Somewhere, this is the finest chapter of my young life. To know them for once and all epochs. Somewhere, all of them draw themselves like art on the vast bark of the tree of life. Somewhere, all of them draw themselves like art on the vast bark of the tree of life. Thank you.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And I love the line that as a painter, you're automatically anti-fascist. Yes. Yeah. Perfect.
Thank you.
That's wonderful. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so very much.
Yeah.
I like your phrase to raise a painter. I never thought of it that way. That was lovely because they encouraged you to do that. And now you're a painter of another kind, which is you do with words beautifully.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so very much.
I love the line, protected from the longitudinal shadows of passing years. And so just some things that also resonated, that you loved people whose hands were always busy, and drawn on the vast bark of the tree of life. It just spoke to my heart. And the things we create as children that our mothers treasure. It's a beautiful tribute to your mom. Has she seen the poem?
She's not seen the poem yet. I'm going to read it to her tomorrow morning. First thing that I do.
Oh, wow. That's just, oh, wow.
Thank
I
you.
love how it really grew, sort of like the tree, right? And it's it was very specific, and it kept on branching out and branching out. And the line that resonated for me most was the one about your mother's smile. That's really
Oh, yes.
big as your mother's.
I was always encouraged to draw, to write. I mean, without encouragement, you can only go so far in this world, because there will always be this noose hanging on your neck that perhaps you don't have as much support. So I really feel empathy for those people who may not receive the same counsel and support, which I've received in droves. And just to let everyone know, the last part about my neighbors is absolutely true, because the home where I grew up in for the first 10 to 11 years of my life, our neighbors were people who were siblings. They were all siblings. And it was kind of miraculous, because I've never come across such a story or a narrative drawn from real life. They were all real life siblings. They were aged, elderly individuals, and they imparted so much love and warmth to my life. And staying together really put them against all traditional partings of adulthood, as I've put it. So when I look back in time over my shoulder, I think that was the greatest chapter of my young life. And I wanted to pay tribute to that as well.
Yeah, those traditional partings of adulthood can be pretty tough. Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you very much. Isabel, would you read for us next?
Okay, thank you. You're hitting both ends of the time zones, right? Yeah. Um, this is a poem I just wrote from a prompt about, well, it's called Moon. How interesting that moon, month, menses, Monday, come from German, Dutch, Old English, while luna, lunacy, lunatic come from Latin. How many languages use moon as an excuse for craziness? Or do they just blame it on women and our monthly lunar cycles? Why do dogs howl at the moon? Only when it's full? Do black threads still fade if they're only exposed to moonlight? Reflected light is different than straight on sun rays, don't you think? What about laser light? My first husband explained to me how lasers work time when we were on an acid trip. I marveled at his words. How does moonlight affect insects? Fireflies? Hillbillies make moonshine, only in the dark? How does the moon feel about that? How do they feel after a moonshined night? I'm so curious. Why do I always have questions like this? Must be the moon.
Yeah, it was totally clever. I love all the wordplay. It was great.
I love moonshine night.
Right. Oh, God. Yeah. Thinking of scabs on knees and things like that, I still have some blue scars on my knees from falling from my bicycle in our gravel driveway. And also this moonshine thing, the first drunk I ever had, I was spending the night with a friend. This was like 8th grade or something. And her dad had a jar of moonshine, absolutely clear liquid. And it was like, holy smokes. We poured some into a tablespoon and lit it. And it flamed for like a few minutes. And I don't recommend it. I've got many years sober now, but oh my God. Anyway, yeah.
Adventures, Isabel.
The moon is very, it influences us a lot. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Julian, would you read for us next?
So the first poem is about sort of an ode to vacuum cleaner. Clean break. I miss your low drone, your no-nonsense business-like growl. Ready to pounce on quarry under the couch or stick your slanted mouth to seize prey huddling in their crevices. The web they weave in high places. A wedding gift that the marriage outlasted, you soon lost your breath. Age takes its toll, the game less tempting. You coughed and sputtered in protest, your wheels dragging. You even shocked us once, and we finally got the message. Yet swelled up and emptied once too often, maybe. The world has gone bagless since. Robots scour your hunting grounds now, solo and unmanned, ignoring corners, getting snagged on rugs, infuriating cats. In the end, consistency matters, that steady routine every weekend when we worked in tandem as a team to rid our tiny world of our tiny mess. Your box in the storeroom sits empty now, the snap of your power cord no more. Your efficient hum a distant echo, leaving a vacuum in our hearts that no other sucker will ever fill.
Very good. Very good.
Second one is short. I write a lot about inanimate objects, and this is just the view from a swimming pool's perspective. Rectangle dream. Tonight, as every night, I'm closed, cool, as any sedentary fool, emptied of splashing arms and legs, no screechy fry to agitate the chlorine and sear my one watery eye. Always so glad when I'm left alone I can be still, reflect the moonlight and swoon to the meditative rotation of my friend, Mr. Night Sky, sequined with stars, and ponder my onerous fate as human playmate instead of shimmering poet.
Good.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thanks, Julian. Where are you zooming in from?
I'm in Malaysia.
Malaysia.
Wow.
Yeah, it's 3:10 a.m.
Oh, geez.
on Monday.
Wow.
Thank
I
you.
just had a session with my vacuum cleaner about 2 hours ago. She's also survived several marriages.
Oh, wow.
But it's always good to clean house. Huh?
Just your trademark humor and seriousness interwoven, and all the unexpected twists and turns. I'm always spellbound by your work.
And
And I
I
love
was
the fact that his voice was barely above a whisper, and yet the poems were so cheeky and they were so humorous. And they were so properly poetic at the same time. It's a tough nut to crack when it comes to these three, points: humor and keeping it poetic. It was wonderful. Thank you so very much, Mr. Julian.
Yeah. I was listening to some poetry earlier this week, and it was about persona poems, and supposedly they're not the thing. We're not supposed to write persona poems because we have no idea what other things or people are thinking. And I had to leave the meeting because I was so disgusted. Julian, just keep going. Your poems are wonderful. I love your sense of humor. And
Isabel, who says this? According to whom?
okay, Jimmy Pappas. I don't know if you know him. This guy who's he lives in New Hampshire, and every Monday night he presents a poet or sometimes a poetic theme or format or something. And he used to teach poetry and English in high school in New Hampshire public school, I think. So he does this. It's almost like a class every Monday, 7 o'clock your time. They're always interesting. But this woman, Susan Cohen, who had written some wonderful poems, the first like comments on them were, well, persona poems, and I had just made a comment and it obviously hit a brick wall. So anyway, so Julian, strength and courage, keep going, and I love his humor. But anyway, so we don't all have to agree. Different strokes for different folks. Okay.
No, and I'm very suspicious of people imposing these rules, for Pete's sake, right? This is where we have our freedom. Yeah.
Exactly right. Exactly. It was very rare to have that kind of reaction in Jimmy's, presentations. But so I don't know. We'll see.
Thank you, everybody. If it's okay, I'll read a poem and bring it back to Woodbury. I have a sort of an ancient family connection to Woodbury. My ancestors came here from Killingworth, Connecticut, after fighting in the Revolution, and I don't know, lack of vision. We didn't get too far. Just love the place though. This is a poem called Woodbury Corn. Nan and Pop Isbell would come to Woodbury to pick blueberries and bring home fresh corn. After the long ride back to Darien, Nan would steam the sweet yellow kernels for a late night dinner in the warm kitchen of corn, butter, salt, out of respect for the place that opened the world to Pop before his father brought them to Stamford, that he might find work as a carpenter to support his kin. Mom would get out of bed to join them, though she had been asleep for hours. She learned Woodbury from the taste of corn and stories she heard at the family board, the journey home, the quest for love, the heart restored. Thank you.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah.
Right now in Woodbury, where there's a green corn festival happening because there's the American Indian Archaeological Institute is in a neighboring town, and there's a big celebration that they have called the Green Corn Festival when the corn becomes ready to be picked, and that's happening in our town. It's a very special time of year as the summer sun gets a little tired of itself, and the light's a little bit softer, and there are all these gifts from the earth that we can enjoy. It's really, really wonderful. Yeah, and there's also a military history timeline with vehicles event at the same park. So, I don't know. We find room for everything and everybody. I guess that's part of the charm of the place. Thank you, everybody, for being here and sharing your poetry.
This has been People and Their Poems. Glad you could join us. If you'd like to know more about what we do, please visit our website at orenaugmountainpublishing.com. Check out our poetry anthologies and learn how you can take part in an upcoming collection. Let us help you publish your next book. Once again, this has been People and Their Poems, presented by Orenaug Mountain Publishing. Have a great day.